Imagine, you're alone on Mars. Days are passing by, and your food supply is about to run out. You have just a few packets left, a limited ration that can only keep you alive for a few more weeks. Every time you open a packet, you feel, this could be my last meal. Now you have to decide, either slowly die of hunger, or try to make the impossible possible, farming on Mars. On a planet where oxygen is scarce, water is frozen, and the soil is poisonous, can you really grow something? In this desperation, Mark Watney comes up with an idea: potatoes. In the next scenes of the movie, we see Mark Watney analyzing his situation. He has a small habitat where he manages his daily survival, but the biggest challenge is food shortage. Mark has only a few days of rations left. Communication with NASA is cut off, meaning there's no chance of resupply. Even if a rescue mission is launched, it could take months, maybe years, to reach him. So Mark decides he must grow his own food. Luckily, for Thanksgiving, the crew had brought along some raw potatoes. Mark uses those potatoes as seeds. He brings Martian regolith, soil, inside the habitat. He mixes it with his and the crew's stored human waste, as fertilizer. Using carbon dioxide and artificial light, he creates conditions for plant growth. And slowly, in the middle of Mars, he creates a small, potato farm. This becomes the most hopeful and innovative moment of the movie. But the big question remains, is farming on Mars really possible? Martian soil, called regolith, is very different from Earth's soil. Regolith does contain some nutrients needed for plants, but it also has a dangerous chemical called perchlorates. These perchlorates are toxic for plants. This means if you directly plant seeds in Mars soil, growth would be very difficult. In the movie, Mark used regolith without treatment. In reality, the soil would first need to be washed and purified to remove these chemicals before it could be used for farming. In the movie, Mark uses his and the crew's stored waste as fertilizer. Theoretically, this is correct because waste contains nitrogen and phosphorus, essential for plants. But using it directly is dangerous because it also contains harmful bacteria and pathogens. In reality, astronauts would need to treat this waste first, through composting or sterilization, before it would be safe for farming. Plants need water to grow. On Mars, liquid water is not available on the surface, it mostly exists as underground ice. In the movie, Mark creates water by combining hydrogen and oxygen. We'll cover this in detail in part 3. This is theoretically possible, but not practical or safe. In real Mars missions, farming would depend on either melting ice or creating a closed-loop water recycling system. On the ISS, International Space Station, astronauts already recycle their urine into drinkable water. In the movie, Mark improvises a greenhouse inside the habitat. In reality, farming on Mars would also require a greenhouse where temperature, oxygen, and humidity are controlled. Mars has an average temperature of -60 degrees Celsius, so plants cannot survive outside. NASA has experimented with this in Mars simulation greenhouses, and they proved that potatoes can be grown in controlled environments. But it requires huge amounts of energy and resources. In 2017, NASA collaborated with the International Potato Center in Peru to test potato farming in Mars-like conditions. The results were positive. Potatoes can indeed grow under simulated Mars conditions. This means potato farming on Mars is theoretically possible, but not in the simple way shown in the movie. It would require advanced, high-tech systems. So friends, the potato farm scene in The Martian is close to science, but not as simple as the movie shows. Farming on Mars is possible, but only if toxic soil is treated, water is recycled, and a proper greenhouse is created. This means Mark Watney's idea was smart, but in real life, he would face many more hurdles. And this takes us to the next big challenge, water. Because without water, farming is impossible, and making or finding water on Mars is in itself a dangerous adventure. Backhand index pointing right in the next part, we will explore whether water can really be made on Mars like Mark did, or if that was just a dramatic scene. If you're finding this journey interesting, then do like and subscribe and join us in this adventure rocket sparkles.